well.
Yeah.
Not every game plays that way, but it can happen from time to time. So I know Underworld Connections is sort of this established norm to have for mirror matches and control type situations, but in the green control mirrors, whether it's junk rights, a Jund mirror match, whatever, I'm starting to get a little more suspicious of Underworld Connections.
And you speak of acidic slime, Brian Fisher, 2 copies of those on his sideboard. You also find a Rakdos return, 3 Pillar of Flames, a Grafdigger's Cage, 2 Underworld Connections of his own, 1 Sever the Bloodline, 1 Olivia, and 4 copies of Slaughter Games. So we'll see if either player does board in Slaughter Games here. Not sure what you would want to name because everything is so diversified among the Jund decks. Jonathan more diversified than Brian, so having a name that doesn't overlap with something else with a Slaughter Game seems a little bit difficult. Maybe you just want to have Olivia superiority.
Sure. Garrett Primal Hunter, not a horrible target either.
Yeah, not at all. The swings in this matchup can go back and forth quite a bit. As you said, a lot of it is pretty dependent on Bonfire the Damned. As Bonfire the Damned can be pretty poor, because Hardcasting one's not very good in this matchup, to an absolute insane blowout if it's Miracled off the top, which was probably the purpose of the card when it was designed in the first place, but it really shines here in this matchup.
Yep. Games get dragged out, there's a lot of playing on the board, and so Bonfire pretty much at maximum power here.
And again, that's a card that Jonathan does have 2 copies in his main, 2 copies in his board, and Brian has none in his 75. So we'll see if that's going to change this matchup a lot or not. See both players. Brian really taking a look at his opening hand here.
What's he looking at here? Is he looking at 1 land Farseek on the play?
That's what it feels like. You see
Is
at
there
least
an Arbor? Is there an Arbor Elf in that hand? All the way on the left?
Yeah, it looks like there is.
Duress 2 copies of Rakdos returns. Huntmaster.
Murder.
It's
a pretty big sweat.
I feel like Brian wishes he was not on camera right now. That's the vibe that I'm getting. This might be one of those hands where if no one's watching, no chance he mulligans. But
sure.
with the eyes of the world on him, do we have a different decision?
I would keep this and then bemoan my bad luck when I draw any lands.
Oh, for sure. There's no way I'd ever mulligan this.
And then if someone asks me how I lost, I'd just say I got mana screwed.
Got a mana screwed.
Yeah.
Stalled on 1 land.
Yeah. The reason I don't keep that hand there is because you have to draw a land like every turn of the game.
Has the discipline to lay it down. Yeah, if the second Rakdos returns is another reasonably costed card, you could argue for it, but when the mana situation is already a little bit dodgy, citing the strengths of your hand as of having 2 X spells is probably just best to let it go.
Yeah, if you look at the short term of the hand, you say, okay, I just need to draw like 1 or 2 lands to get going. But in reality, you need to draw like 4 or 5 lands, actually, because the game's going to be a little while. Ideally, if you're playing your deck and you just say, oh man, I just have to draw like 5 lands in a row, that's not like a good thing at all. So that's not a good way to look at the game. And I think Brian figured that out, decided to take a mulligan here, because we do have one more result for you guys. Matthew Check, playing the Aristocrats, is going to be playing tomorrow. He defeats Mike Greco, playing Naya midrange. So congratulations to Matthew and all his adoring fans, as he'll be playing against Matthew Hoey, playing Jund tomorrow. Aristos. All right, so we need to see who Jeff Hoogland's going to play in the finals here.
Pulling up 6. And yeah, I see an Overgrown Tune and a Stomping Ground and some spells. So
happy enough.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Overgrown Tomb, here we go.
So his hand just lands in a couple Huntmasters.
Olivia, too.
Oh, he's an Olivia. Okay.
Yeah. Not a bad hand on mulligan to 6. Another Huntmaster. So it looks like 3 Huntmasters. Overgrown Tomb, pass the turn back. Jonathan gonna take a draw. Dragon Skull Summit. Does he have a Liliana? It's just 2 Huntmasters. My apologies. 2 Huntmasters and Olivia. 2 lands. Here is Underworld Connections. See, he doesn't play it on the green source right now either, so no Arbor Elf shenanigans.
Also can't get slimed off of his 1 green source plus connections.
Alright, here come the 4 mana spells. Start with a Huntmaster that falls here for Brian. 2 life, Wolf Token.
that underworld connection is kind of representing that he must have a lot of removal in hand. Maybe he had actually nothing else to do with his third turn. But
Yeah.
you ideally want to run the connections in such a way where you cast it, and then you use it, kill a guy, use it, kill a guy, make your land drops go all the way up, etc.
Basic forest. In Jonathan's hand, is he going to play it? Really thinking about it. Alright, there's that. There's a Garruk. Okay. Okay. Put a wolf token out there. Garruk on 3 counters. And just pass the turn back, so Brian's going to untap. He's going to draw. Let's see what he finds.
There's a wolf run in hand, which is pretty awesome here.
Mm-hmm. Stomping ground. Another thing that's pretty good is that Rakdos return.
Yep.
You can go up top for 3, make Jonathan discard 3 cards and redirect that damage to Garruk. It's not a bad turn as well.
Yeah, it's made a little bit worse by the fact that Underworld Connections is in play.
Mm-hmm.
Can't just outcard him like that at this point. It's definitely incumbent on Brian to be more aggressive now that Connections is looming.
So let's see how Brian wants to navigate this game. Does he want to play an Olivia? Does he want to play Huntmaster of the Fells? Has to fear Bonfire of the Damned. Actual every turn.
Yep. Well, both players are in that spot.
Yeah, if you're Brian, you have to play in such a way that how bad is a Bonfire for me? And if Jonathan, you have to play in such a way that, all right, every turn I can draw a Bonfire to absolutely ruin him.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I'm in Brian's position, my thoughts on the matter are just, I'm going to die if it happens. There's not much to be done about it. It's incumbent on me to be aggressive anyway, so I want to try to end the game quickly. That's my best way to play around Bonfire.
We're going to see Brian come out with a Rakdos return for 3, kill that Garruk Relentless. As he already pointed towards it, he said, I'm going to redirect there, and you're going to discard 3 cards, so... Decides to not want to add anything to his board this turn.
Yeah, I mean, this is a nice turn for Brian. You know, it's awkward for him to make any sort of attacks to try to make an inroad on Garruk, because he basically has to lose his Huntmaster and spend mana pumping into Wolf Run if he wants to do that. So instead, you just do this. It's it's not an ideal setup, but it's pretty good given the circumstances.
So what to discard if you're Jonathan? That is the question.
He has 4 cards in hand currently.
Alright. Garruk, Primal Hunter, a Dreadborn, a Huntmaster of the Fells.
Not bad.
It's a hell of a Rakdos return.
Yep.
2 cards left. See if Huntmaster, that Wolf token's going to come across if he wants to clear out that other one.
Seems poor to trade if you're worried about Liliana.
Sure.
But
See Wolf tokens trade off. Jonathan going to draw a card.
if you're worried about hedging against Bonfire a little bit, then there's an argument for trading. So
Takes 2 right away. Rakdos return you right back for 3. Ugh.
all right, so
Alright, so there goes the Huntmaster of the Fell, the Olivia, and...
Acidic Slime is about our best draw right now.
Yeah. What is it going to be? He needs to get this game over with. Yep, we see a Castle Ghoul for an activation. He needs to try to kill him, and this is where you start to see Underworld Connections take over.
I mean, Brian does get to flip his Huntmaster here and deal 2, assuming there's no removal spell.
Yeah.
And he's got Wolf Run online. It's not. He doesn't. Ooh.
It's a miracle. There goes Ravager of the Fells. Pass the turn
Still
back.
have plenty of good draws if you're Brian here.
We knew this was going to be like this. It's going
His
to
own
Underworld
Underworld
Connections.
That's one of the better draws.
Yeah. We know it can be like this. It can be very, very back and forth in the John Muir. Alright, so there's an Underworld Connections on that Dragon Skull Summit. Is he going to draw right now, or is he going to wait? He's going to wait.
Makes yeah, I think if you're playing against Rakdos Return, it's worth the wait. There's slight upside to drawing away right away. You might draw. It comes into play tap land, but I think you want to err on the side of minimizing Rakdos returns.
So Jonathan does draw a card right away with Underworld Connections. Alright, Farseek. Doesn't look like he has much action. Maybe a little bit of removal, not much else. I want to check to see if there's any abrupt decays in Jonathan's deck list to be able to take care of Brian's Underworld Connections.
He's got one.
Got one in his main, one in his side, so he has outs to that if he did leave and or sideboard in that additional one. So, draw a Rakdos return off of that one.
Another big haymaker.
Draws a Blood Crypt. How neither of these players have drawn Thraktos yet is beyond me. Alright, draw a card. He keeps pointing it out that he's untapped at this.
It's like, yeah, no, and ooh.
Boy, Garrett Primal Hunter off the top.
Just non-stop haymakers from both players.
You get in this attrition-based game, his Blood Crypt's going to come into play on tap. You get in this attrition-based game where the top decks are what matters, and Garrett Primal Hunter is one of the very best ones this deck can find. So now Beast Token comes into play, and now for Jonathan, you're back in the situation of Bonfire!
And keep in mind, Brian still has Rakdos returns later. Give a little tap of the deck.
It's nice to have outs.
Yes.
That's for sure.
Yeah, Jonathan's just got to be really concerned with his life total here. So he's mulling over, I guess, whether or not he wants to use his Underworld Connections. And you remember, he's facing down Kessig Wolfrun in play too.
Yeah.
So
there's a Wolfrun in play and a Rakdos turn in his hand. And the thing that he's primarily thinking about, of course, is that Kessig Wolfrun in play for Brian and a land coming into play after that, and what can I do to make this not a disaster for myself. You see him counting his lands here. 6 mana in play, one of which has an Underworld Connections on it. Hasn't played a land yet this turn, but don't know what his hand is, but it looks like he's certainly in some trouble here.
I mean, Jonathan's play over the course of this match has been very fast from what we've seen. This is the first time we've really seen him tank.
Yeah, Rootbound Crag, and now Rakdos return again. Let's see if who he's going to target with this. This is a pretty big Rakdos return too. I think you just take care of that Garrick, right?
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. I mean, the damage, it's 5.
Oh no, I guess he's going to try to top deck,
Bonfire.
survive this turn and top deck Bonfire.
All right.
It's reasonable.
Hey, gotta do what you gotta do, right? If he can fade a Thragtusk, it's completely reasonable. Draw a card. Didn't get a quite good look at it.
Yeah, we're going to draw 3.
Yeah. Just literally praying to dodge a Thragtusk. Huntmaster. Farseek is the card you drew for his turn.
I mean, Huntmaster, I believe, pushes us out of Bonfire range.
It pushes him out of dying to Bonfire this turn, yes.
It's still clearly
it's still
bad.
good, yeah.
It's still clearly bad for Brian if the top card is Bonfire, but means, you know.
Right. So there's your Huntmaster of the Fells. 2 life and a wolf. Puts Brian up to 8. Here's your Woodland Cemetery. Here's your Farseek. No Farseek? I could just cast that, right?
Maybe he's mulling over trying to. No, it's not close enough to do spells. Yeah, I think you just Farseek. You have Wolfrun in play. It's just
you spawn as many lands as you can possibly have.
mana matters.
Especially one of your lands is one that taps to draw a card.
Yep.
So. All right. So after Farseek and Resolve, you're going to see a Beast Token come across. It's going to be 8 up. And let's see what Jonathan can do on his turn. not a bonfire. Underworld Connections. Draw a card, go to 7. Looks like a Dreadbore. And that is it. Brian Fisher wins 2-1 in the John Muir match. Jonathan unable to find a timely Bonfire of the Damned to clear everything up.
I think that I like Jonathan's line of play on that last turn a lot less once you factor in the Garrick that's in play, because the odds that Brian doesn't find anything with the 4 cards, like it's weird to me because it feels like Jonathan's still totally in that game if Garrick's not in play. I mean, you I guess you still need to rip a removal spell for because you're still facing down the 3/3 plus the Keswick Wolf Run.
Okay.
Doesn't